Ma, you cannot tell Judge Wilson in your character reference letter I came from a broken home. I went to a prep school. We went to Hawaii twice a year, and I grew up south of the boulevard. You and Dad divorced. It wasn't broken, huh? No, no. Do not tell him that I face a lot of pressure after USC going to work on Wall Street at Bear Stearns. A lot of guys face pressure. They don't break the law, huh? Hold on. Can you read that line again? One more time. Okay. You cannot tell Judge Wilson he'll be making the biggest mistake of his career if he sentences me to prison. Hello, Ma. Hello. And there you have it. The reason my wonderful mother did not turn in a character reference letter in advance of my sentencing in February 2008 to Judge Stephen Wilson is because the letter would have done more harm than good. In the end, I had 16 letters. I only turned in 6 letters that you're not going to believe what the letters actually did. They did what a character reference letter is supposed to do. They actually spoke to my character. So many people write letters that do more harm than good. I think we've seen that in the SBF case. I'm going to touch on some snippets in these letters today with hopes that it helps all of you traversing the system understand what cynical stakeholders like a federal judge want to see in a character reference letter. Do you all remember the movie with Matthew Broderick growing up, War Games? I'm 49 now. I used to watch it all the time with my brother. At the end of the movie, the computer says something like, the only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess? The only winning move here for this family would have been to turn in absolutely no letter at all, because these letters continue to enable. I spoke at and attended a conference several years ago where Judge Gonzalez Rogers said, she's a tough judge in Northern California. She said, character reference letters, if they enable the defendant's conduct, can compel her to give a longer federal prison sentence. And I would argue Barbara Bankman and others continue to enable his conduct, as evidenced by something she wrote in her letter that said, saving Sam is the major project of our lives. Your job at his age isn't to excuse his conduct or to save him, but perhaps to help him understand that he can emerge from the system successfully, not by complaining, but with a plan, even with mental health issues. I mean, how many people in prisons and jails across America have significant mental health issues in all security levels, yet find a way to educate themselves, prepare, and never complain? My business partner, Michael Santos, went to prison in 1987 for 26 consecutive years after being convicted at trial for a nonviolent drug crime. He served 8 years in the penitentiary, walking through puddles of blood through that violet pen in USP Atlanta, never complaining, working every day to emerge successfully. I wish the letters they turned in on his behalf would have spoken to the possibilities for him in prison, the possibility of living a productive, law-abiding life, and yes, eventually coming home to the other side. These letters don't do that. Now, for those of you, and some reach out and say, oh, you're kind of doing Monday morning quarterback, and it's easy to pick apart these letters. Let me be very, very clear. There are so many cases his lawyers and family members could have drawn from to understand how bad messaging can lead to longer federal prison sentences. It was Eleanor Roosevelt who said, learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. They had ample opportunity to learn from the mistakes of others. Instead, they think it's cathartic to purge, to write a 6-page letter when myriad federal judges, including some on YouTube, have said to us a page and a half. Sure, let's turn in a 6-page letter and tell the judge how to do their job. It's a bad idea. I'm going to get into some of the snippets of this letter and remind you, you can have a beautiful, well-written, articulated letter, but if one line derails the entire message, that is what a cynical judge is going to focus on. And I share that for some of you who might be thinking, well, maybe there are good messages throughout the letters that were turned in. I have no doubt there is some good messaging in there, but it's the bad messaging is the one that stands out, the one that a judge is going to focus on, which is why they do more harm than good. By the way, welcome to the White Collar Advice channel. If you're traversing this wretched system, we want to help you emerge successfully. To do that, you must remind yourself you're the superstar, you're the hero, you're the one that has to demonstrate every day why you're worthy of leniency. And if that interests you, like, subscribe, and comment. We're so grateful to have you in our community. As I get into some of these letters, let me answer a question I'm asked a lot. How important are these character reference letters? They matter. A federal judge in Nevada, Judge Boulware, told us the order of mitigation follows. Defendant is number one. They have to lead, the lawyer, and friends and family. So character reference letters matter. Indeed, they've helped a number of people in our community get shorter sentences. A big mistake, I think, was turning in, as of this point, 29 letters in time. They all begin to say the same thing. They get watered down. I'd much prefer to have fewer letters of much higher quality that speak to the person's character. And I think that's the first big mistake that was made in his mother's letter, with whom I empathize because I know it's very hard to see their loved one go to federal prison. But in her letter, in my expert opinion, she comes off more as a lawyer or professor rather than a mom. And she writes things that sound boilerplate. It is easy to be cynical about others' professed motives to do good in the world. It's just wasted space. The letter should have opened immediately by getting into his character and sharing things that only a mother can share. Instead, she begins to play lawyer. And when I discuss speaking of someone's character, it's how their character has improved the lives of other people, not his own character or maintaining or showing some discipline in prison. She misses the mark when she said her son has lost 30 pounds since August, subsisting on junk food due to his decade long commitment to veganism. He lived on steak and fries until he was 18. Then she says his determination to remain vegan in prison reveals a lot about his strength of character and moral commitment. Let's ask a pretty basic question here. Does that story or copy give any, and does it demonstrate that he's worthy of a shorter federal prison sentence? That's the test. So if you are traversing the system, if you're a defendant and you're scared to go to prison, and you want a shorter federal prison sentence, here's a tip for you. When you write your narrative, you write a letter, every line, every word, does it get you closer to your goals, which is the best outcome possible? If not, strike it, delete it. This copy about having character because he's eating this food on the inside does nothing to demonstrate why he's worthy of a shorter federal prison sentence. It is, I cannot believe the lawyers absolutely allowed it. I'm spitting, I'm getting angry, I get upset because they knew better. Let's continue on here, people. Racked with remorse. Is that right? She wrote, "It is," he told me, "the first thing he thinks about when he wakes up and the last thing he thinks about when he goes to sleep, and it occupies many moments in between." You can't have your cake and eat it too. I know, I love when I see the cake, I also want to eat it, but you can't. You can't say you're remorseful, get convicted in 4 hours, and then begin to blame other people right out of the Elizabeth Holmes playbook. Indeed, she wrote. When John Ray lamented publicly that the internal records of FTX were so bad they could not put together a list of customers, Sam located the relevant documents immediately and wrote to the Chapter 11 team, offering to show them how to access the pre-existing list. They never answered his emails. Does that get him closer to a shorter federal prison sentence? She sounds like a lawyer or professor, not his mother speaking to his character. It is a mistake. Here's the biggest opportunity they missed, and I'm going to get more into detail on this about a former prisoner with whom he served time, his bunkie, who also wrote a letter. His mother also spoke about tutoring sessions Bankman-Fried is running in jail and has helped 2 inmates who are facing life in prison. That's interesting because the family has gone on to say his life would be threatened in prison based on some health or mental health issues, which would insinuate that he should lay low and not put himself out there. But by leading tutoring sessions, their prior statements don't really align with this. Again, it's having your cake and eating it too. It doesn't really work. Here's where they missed the mark. If this was true, and if he was really impacting the lives of other people in prison, specifically 2 inmates who are facing life in prison, as he is, they should get specifically into what that work is in this letter. What is he doing to improve their lives? What does that process look like? That's not here. And here's where you know he's probably not doing it, or doing it to the degree they're trying to sell, because this is very clear. His bunkmate, Carmine Simpson, said his bunk and locker are next to Bankman-Fried's, said the former executive doesn't belong there. You have a prisoner telling a federal judge that someone in prison shouldn't be there. Horrific messaging. I can't believe the lawyers allowed it. When he first told me that the main reason he worked so hard at becoming a successful and wealthy person was to donate all his money away to noble causes and those in need, quite frankly, I thought he was blowing smoke. Though very quickly I came to the conclusion that Sam is the most selfless person that I've ever had the privilege to meet. Then this person goes on to say he's eating undercooked rice, a scoop of disgusting looking beans, and week-old lettuce. Does a statement like that compel a judge in a character reference letter to give a shorter federal prison sentence? Good God, hell no. But here's the opportunity that was missed. If Bankman-Fried is truly tutoring prisoners who are serving life sentences, this letter from his former bunkmate could have gone into specifically what he was doing. I saw, Your Honor, every single day, Sam Bankman-Fried mentoring these prisoners, helping them develop skills, values, and resources, grow their support network, understand the importance of education. I see him doing that tutoring every single day. That would be monumental. That would be authentic. Where is it? I don't see it. Probably didn't happen because we get into nonsense like he shouldn't be in prison and the food that he's eating. Missed opportunities. If it was true, I promise you it would be here. And even if it's true in the letter, all of this copy should be absolutely removed. I'm not even going to get into what the father said. I am going to wrap up with the brother. And this is perhaps the biggest waste wasted opportunity of all. Gabe Bankman-Fried said, he penned a letter to the judge saying his life would be wasted in prison. He also highlighted his brother's lack of interest in material possessions. Okay, well, that won't be a problem in prison because you don't have many. His life would be wasted in prison. I think that's a tragic, sickening statement to make. And again, it enables the conduct, excuses his conduct. How about believing in his capacity and ability to do better, to educate others, improve his own life? Again, as I wrap up this video about these tragic, sickening letters, my business partner served 26 years in prison. He got an undergraduate and master's degree while in prison. He'd have a PhD if the warden didn't block his books. He wrote dozens of books, mentored tens of thousands of prisoners, including me, who I met in prison when he was in his 22nd year. He changed my life and the lives of thousands of other prisoners. When he was released from prison after 26 years, he began working as a professor at San Francisco State. Copy or content that he creates is used by hundreds of thousands of prisoners across the country. The Bureau of Prisons, California Department of Corrections uses his course, Preparing for Success After Prison. His life was not wasted through 26 years in prison. He created, he documented, he helped, he trained, he mentored. For the brother to write that his life would be wasted in prison is a total disservice to what his brother is capable of. I think it's a shame they wrote it. And here's what it tells me as I wrap up this letter. It goes to show me how little they think of him, how little they think that he's capable of. His mother saying, saving Sam is the major project of our life. His brother stating that would be a wasted opportunity in prison. His father insinuating that because of his mental health issues, of which hundreds of thousands of people in prison have, and still find a way to get through it without the resources that SBF has. To insinuate he can't get through it because of these resources diminishes his ability. And I hope SBF doesn't believe it. And that's how I'll wrap up. Don't believe it. You're capable of doing great things, regardless of how long you served in prison. You're capable of helping other people and helping yourself. You're capable of proving your doubters wrong, but not if you let people enable and excuse your conduct. Your life is not wasted in federal prison, Sam. You can do great things. Will be hard. Will be hard. But if my partner did it, and if hundreds and thousands of people in our community have done it, then you can do it too. Because most don't have the resources. The parents, who I know love you, but actually end up hurting you. They don't have the resources that you have taken for granted, as I did. Do better. You can do better. You can crush it. Got to do better. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.